So guys, I just had a call from somebody I know, and he asked, he had just seen the video where I talked about an incident, and he asked me what happened. So earlier this year, I'd taken a family member to the hospital in central London, and we knew we were going to be there for a big chunk of the day, so I'd paid for parking for a long time, and I couldn't stay with them, so I was told, you know, you have to, I could wait in the waiting area or go outside or whatever. So I went back to my car for a bit, and I thought I'd make a couple of phone calls I needed to make, and I'll have something to eat sitting in the car rather than in the hospital. I couldn't just go back home because it's like an hour's drive there, an hour's drive back, depending on traffic. So I'm sitting in the car, and a lady came to me and said, "Are you going?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, you're parked in the disabled bay." And I was like, "Oh, really, am I?" So I quickly got out and I checked. And I said, "No, the disabled bay ends at the space next to me. You know, I'm in the normal bay. So you can't sit there. You can't just, you know, you can't sit there." And I was like, "Well, I've paid for parking. I paid for about 4 hours. So you can't just sit there. You know, you can't just pay for parking and sit there." And I was like quite confused. I was like, "What do you mean?" And so she's getting quite worked up, and because she's worked up, I was getting a little bit worked up. I was trying to be polite, and so she had her mother with her. They're late for an appointment, and so obviously she wanted to park in a disabled bay, but the disabled bays were full up. There's not that many of them, and obviously my space was right next to the disabled bays, and she would have parked there. But I said to her, "If you ask me politely, I would just move." She's like, "I am asking you politely." I think, "You're not asking me politely." And obviously when she's getting worked up, I'm getting a little bit worked up as well. And then in the end she says, "Oh, you're all the same." And obviously I was quite shocked, and I got angry as well, and I said, "Oh, I would have moved, but now I'm definitely not moving." And I stormed off. And then I thought better of it within about 15 seconds, and I just came back and I said, "Wait a minute," and I moved the car. But so that was earlier this year, and that's a signal to me, you know, of the times we're in right now, because that hasn't happened, you know, I've been a saying, 11 years now. The only incident that I can say that happened to me previously was when I first became a Singh. So first I started growing my hair and I was Teban. That would have been about 10, 11 years ago. Whereas this gentleman, for want of better words, pissed out of his head. You know, he's outside the pub, and I'm walking past, and this was in Burnt Oak, so near Hendon, Colindale sides. So he's "Oh, raghead or towelhead," or whatever he called me, something like that, and you know, but he was clearly pissed. So I just I didn't say anything to him, I just moved on. But that was the only other incident I can say to you that that's happened to me. And but this year, you know, to hear that, it's quite shocking. But even just a few weeks back, so we were in Somerset doing a charity hike, so me and some other Sikhs, and there was some discomfort in us that, hang on, you know, with everything that's going on, are we gonna meet somebody who's not happy to see us here? So I'm not saying everybody felt uncomfortable, but it did cross my mind, and I know at least it crossed one or two other people's minds as well. But I did say to them, you know, we were in Somerset, so I said, when there were floods in Somerset and Khalsa Aid came to help, many people love the Sikhs because of that, so, you know, probably they still remember that, and we shouldn't hopefully get any sort of hatred. We didn't, people were decent, and maybe we were just thinking too much, but it's even we are finding that we have to be sort of cautious in ourselves, and we're thinking twice what should we or shouldn't say, or how do we behave. It's a sad thing, I think, at the moment, but again, with God's grace, I hope everything gets much better very quickly in this country of ours, and peace and love to you guys. Speak to you soon.